So you're an artist, a designer, maybe an athlete, and you've been dreaming of making Canada your home. Well, if you were planning for 2026, you might have just hit a massive wall. The main path to permanent residency? It's been paused. But don't worry. In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why. And more importantly, we'll lay out the strategic alternative path that you need to know about right now. Here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll get into why this dream is on hold and talk about the huge 4-year backlog that makes just waiting around pretty much impossible. Then we'll dive into the solution, the C11 permit. We'll give you a clear 5-step strategy, your bridge to Canada. And we'll wrap up by talking about the common traps you absolutely have to avoid. Okay, let's dive right in. To really get what's happening, we first have to understand the program that so many of you creative professionals were counting on. This program was basically the golden ticket. For everyone from freelance writers and musicians to pro athletes and their coaches, this was it. It offered a direct shot at becoming a permanent resident, letting you build a real life and a career here in Canada. But here's a reality check. Right now, today, the Canadian government, specifically IRCC, has hit the pause button. Hard. They are not accepting any new applications for this program. Full stop. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, I'll just wait it out. How bad can it be? Well, once we look at the numbers, you'll see pretty quickly why waiting is not really a strategy here. 53 months. That's the official estimated processing time. And get this, that's for the applications that are already in the system. Let's just put that number into perspective, because it's a big one. 53 months isn't just a bit of a delay. We're talking about a standstill of over 4 years. That's how long they think it'll take just to clear the current pile before they can even think about looking at new ones. And the key word here, the really crucial one, is indefinitely. This isn't some scheduled break they're taking. The government has completely stopped taking applications for one reason, to get through a backlog that's already years long. And there's no official date on the calendar for when they'll start again. This is it, right? This is the big question hanging over so many talented people around the globe. With the main highway closed, what are your options? Is the dream just over? The answer is no, absolutely not. The dream isn't over. The direct route might be closed for now, but another path exists. It's just time to get strategic and talk about how to build a bridge to get where you want to go. And this bridge, well, this is your new strategy. While that permanent residence program is on ice, there's another option that's active. It's faster, and it can get you to Canada way sooner. It's called the C11 work permit. It's so important to get this distinction. One is a closed door to permanent residency, at least for a while. The other is a wide open door to a temporary work permit. This lets you come to Canada, start your work, and get yourself perfectly set up for when that PR program finally reopens. I mean, this table really says it all, doesn't it? Just look at the difference. A 53-month-plus wait versus just 3 to 6 months. Government fees of almost $2,400 versus a few hundred. For anyone who wants to make a move in 2026, the C11 permit is, well, it's a no-brainer. So what is this C11 permit? Well, think of it like a special fast pass. It lets you bypass that super complicated labor market impact assessment, the LMIA process. You don't have to prove that a Canadian can't do your job. You just have to prove that your work brings real, significant value to Canada. All right, so how do you actually build this bridge? Let's walk through the practical, step-by-step roadmap that's going to get you from where you are right now to actually working in Canada. This 5-step process is your new game plan. It's pretty simple. Step 1, you gather all the proof that your work has value. Step 2, you make it official by registering a business here. Step 3, you apply for that C11 permit. Step 4, you arrive and you start working. And finally, step 5, you keep an eye out and stay ready to jump on that PR application the moment the program reopens. Now, if you're wondering, am I a strong candidate for this path? A really good way to gauge that is to look at the old selection grid for the permanent residency program. You needed at least 35 points. And as you can see, experience was the biggest piece of the pie. This is still a fantastic benchmark to see if your profile is the kind of thing Canada's looking for. Okay, let's move on to a really, really important part of this whole strategy, understanding the common mistakes that get people refused, because knowing these will help you avoid them. This right here is the #1 misunderstanding. The term self-employed can be really misleading. It doesn't mean any freelancer can apply. This pathway is exclusively for people in very specific creative, cultural, or athletic jobs. An IT consultant, for instance, just wouldn't be eligible. And the second huge trap is how people interpret the term world-class. This isn't just a nice compliment. It is a literal standard. It means you need to have proof of international fame or that you perform at the absolute top of your field. A well-respected local piano teacher, for example, would apply under the standard self-employed criteria, not this one. So, just to recap, these are the big pitfalls to avoid. You need the right occupation, a realistic assessment of your experience level, and you also have to prove you're financially viable. Now, there isn't an official number, but we strongly recommend showing you have at least $25,000 to $30,000 in funds to prove you can support yourself while you're getting set up. When you actually see the options laid out like this, the strategic choice becomes incredibly clear, doesn't it? You can sit back and wait for over 4 years with absolutely no guarantee, or you can be proactive and potentially be working in Canada in just a matter of months. And that really sums up the whole situation. Just waiting around for a paused program to maybe reopen someday? That's a gamble. The C11 strategy, on the other hand, is a proactive plan. It puts you in control, it gets you to Canada, and it sets you up for long-term success. So, that leaves us with one final thought. With the main road closed, the real question isn't when will it reopen. It's about your willingness to be strategic, to pivot, and to start building that bridge that's going to take you to your Canadian dream.